Good afternoon, everyone. Om Shanti. A warm welcome to Parenting Series Nurturing with Love and Wisdom from Brahma Kumaris, Silicon Valley. I am the facilitator of this session, Meghna, and would love to start off the session with a short guided meditation. So request you all to join me. Relax your body. Make it comfortable. And then see if you can keep your back straight, feet on the ground, and body as still as possible. The intention of this meditation to experience our generous, wide, and big heart. With that intention, let's withdraw our focus, our attention from the external world that shrinks our heart, that makes it limited, scarce. Let's take few deep breaths in silence. Breathe in love, compassion, kindness. This is who you really are. And breathe out, release irritation, resentment, and anger. This is not who you are. Imagine a life where there is no love. In one form or the other, we all try to experience love and express love. Some of us love using certain things, or we love being around certain people, or we love performing certain actions. It could be as simple as staying up in a blanket, using your gadget, or cooking a meal, or hanging out with your parents. We are all at every moment, making an effort in our own ways to keep our heart warm, vibrant, healthy. So ask yourself right now, how is your heart feeling? Does it have love for the entire family, close and extended? Does it feel vibrant around colleagues and strangers? Does it feel mercy and kindness around friends? Or are the feelings of the heart perishable, inconsistent? Does the heart sometimes feel heavy, cold, and bitter? Who is getting damaged, impacted when I experience bitterness? Is it the outside world that gets hurt and damaged when my heart is experiencing resentment, anger? Indeed, the family does get impacted. They do receive my negative vibrations, but I am the closest to my heart. I, the soul, gets damaged first, and then my body, every cell of the body stops receiving healthy amount of oxygen and blood. So I damage myself, my body, my family. Whenever my heart shrinks, what can I do to have a heart that experiences imperishable, consistent, and unconditional love? How do I make myself a big-hearted, generous being so that no matter who comes in front of me, they don't cause, or I don't let them destroy the health of my heart? The irony is that eternally my truth is that I am a big-hearted, humongous-hearted, generous-hearted, warm and sweet-hearted person is who I am. That is my truth. And I once again awaken to my truth. And I awaken to my truth because I love myself. And I know if my heart is warm, sweet, then I'm benefiting myself. Every cell of my body receives ample amount of oxygen and blood. Mother Nature receives my warm vibrations and feels serenity. My family experiences bliss through the vibrations of my heart, and the aura of the home becomes divine. How many benefits of living a life that reflects my eternal truth. All I need to do is practice living that truth by taking out few minutes every few hours to reconnect myself to my truth. And it is easy because we, the human souls, want easy method, and we want relationships. We are social beings. So when I forge all my relationships with the lovelier than the loveliest being, God Himself, it's a point of light, ocean of love, the one who doesn't need any love, who accepts me and does not expect. The more I build a strong bond with God, give my love to Him, make Him my priority, He will make me His top priority. He will ensure that at every moment I receive the current of His love in the form of vibrations. A soul that is nurtured by God's love becomes the most loving nurturer, not only for their own kids, but for the entire world and the universe. They become a nurturer. Their heart becomes as wide and as generous like God. So thank you, my beloved companion, for always keeping your heart warm for me and embracing me no matter where I'm standing in life. It is fantastic to have you, God, as my companion. Welcome everyone to Nurturing with Love and Wisdom. Today we will focus on basically how to manage a child that is slightly disobedient. How do we use love and wisdom to maintain our grace and at the same time nurture the kid? And if you can the first class was on nurturing the nurturer, right? The nurturer needs to be nurtured. That's what we talked about. If you can help me revise, can you maybe on your chat post what were some things that you remember from the last class? What were some things we talked about in the last class? How should the nurturer, why is it important for the nurturer to be nurtured? We talked about that. Yeah, we have to have our love tank full. Absolutely. Yes. Any other points from last class? What does nurturing really mean? We talked about that as well. Yes, Amrit Vela is a morning time between 2 to 5 a.m. Any time between that is a very good time to get a nurturer has to be nurtured first. Yes, thank you. Yeah, we're trying to make this session interactive because Kusum Didi says, that's when you absorb the content better, when you are participating, engaging, responding and asking questions. So that's why I'm trying to change from this session by asking questions, and do appreciate your engagement. It makes it interesting for me as well. So quickly revising, these are all the building blocks. It's not like one is more important or the other than the other, or we are trying to prioritize one more than the other, but really all of these are important building blocks. Just like when you plant a seed, you first make sure that the soil is ready, and then you put the seed, you're watering, you're taking care, and you ensure that the weeds don't destroy the plant, the young sapling. So similarly, we as nurturers are making sure of taking care of all the dimension of child development, because we want to nourish the whole being, not just one aspect that is just their extracurricular or their academic, but or just their physical health. Actually, all of those things can be taken care of very easily. The child can manage all of that very quickly. The biggest care we need to really do is develop their inner being. That job really, obviously, when the child becomes adult and if the child has interest, they will develop that inner being. But parents are in that best position to develop that inner being, that inner garden. No other teacher or friend, nobody else will really help them in growing their inner being. And without that inner being having grown, very hard to manage life. So we as parents are responsible for such an important task. So indeed, we need to take care first, because it is such an important responsibility to take a small seed and make it into a beautiful plant, and that grows up into a huge tree that bears many fruits of success in every dimension of life. But to fulfill such a responsibility, I need to nurture and take care of myself. And one of the most easiest way to do that is I need both love and wisdom. Love is connected to the heart and wisdom is connected to the mind. But this is not brain, or this is not the physical heart we are talking about, because that is just the hardware. We are talking about the software. Soul has a mind which is thinking, and soul has a heart that is feeling. And at every moment when these two are connected, where I'm using both of them at every moment of my life in raising my children, balanced. Never is my love without wisdom, and never is my wisdom without love. So give love lawfully and apply law lovefully. Both the dimensions are very, very important. So we started talking about how when the One of the sides is heavy. Majority of us are experiencing heavy-sided mind. That is, we are always number-oriented. Even our love is very number-oriented, very hyperactive logical mind. And sometimes we have a hyperactive emotional mind. So when we have an imbalance like this, you will see an imbalance in emotions too. Your wings will become crippled. So these are basically the two wings of the soul, the mind and the heart. And when there is an imbalance, then you will experience these kind of emotions, and you will find love to be very, very difficult. And so if I want to maintain balance, detachment is very, very essential. Otherwise, I will either be an emotional fool, very irrational. Most of the people will say you're a daydreamer, your words make no sense. And other extreme, where I am too calculative, too manipulative. Even my love is not natural anymore. I calculate. If I give you some kudos, some thank yous, will I get something in return? Otherwise, why should I appreciate you? That is called being heavily left-sided. Such a person experiences these kind of negative emotions. So in order to experience balance between both the heart and the mind, we need to detach. It is very, very essential to detach from what? That is what we had started talking yesterday, last week's class, that many of us, I think many of you, at least very familiar names. So I am thinking you're all been coming to Brahma Kumaris for a very long time. So we need to have a detachment from the physical world, and then attachment to the spiritual world. We have duality of existence. We are human beings. So human is the part of the body. This is what our body is made out of, matter. And matter has this characteristics that nothing in it stays forever. Everything is perishable, constantly changing. And there is the end to every experience here. It ends. And when we are living only in this physical world, we develop a lot of those emotions which are negative, fear, because it will end. Relationship will end, love will end, job will end, house will fall. Or stress, there is too much, my name will get tarnished. So in Raj Yoga meditation, we ignite the light within, disconnect from this physical world and connect to the spiritual world. And because the soul, very important to understand, we started talking about this as well, last class, is that soul's oxygen supply is really the love. It is an embodiment of love. It has forgotten. We have forgotten that love is within us. We are natural resources of love. Like there are natural minerals in certain countries, like South Africa is very rich in many, many valuable metals, valuable gems. Similarly, the resource, our richest, we are very rich in love. But because of being very physically attached to everything, living only one dimension of life, we are seeking love outside. We are thinking love is outside, love for job, love for people, love for objects. We are trying to experience love through objects which have no feelings. Like people fall in love with their phone, they can't be without their phone. This is a non-living thing. Phone is a non-living thing. But we fall in love with this because we are so physical. We get attracted to anything that is beautiful, anything that is powerful, anything that is magical, anything that will get me name and fame. So soul is hungry. It needs something to experience love. And that is why just detachment alone doesn't work. And that's why I find Brahma Kumari's Raj Yoga meditation to be so powerful, because it is sustainable. In many places, they teach you complete detachment. They'll say Forget about everything here. Forget about relationships. Don't get too involved in work. Don't do too many things. Move away. Take many days off. Yes, to some extent, yes, we have to disconnect. Yes, we should take vacation. But the bottom line is we have created many responsibilities by having a family. And it's not a bad thing. Being responsible is a good thing. It is little selfish if you decide that, hey, I don't want to be responsible for anything. I'll just be responsible for myself. Even for myself, for a few years after that, I'll eat out of my savings. That kind of a life has no bliss. It's a very lazy and a coward kind of lifestyle, as per me. So detachment and attachment is both very, very important. It can't be that I just detach from people. I detach from my work. I detach from all the objects. Well, at least from them, I was getting 1 penny worth of love. If not anything, at least sometimes I could collect $1 worth of love from people. Now you're saying I shouldn't have anything with people. I shouldn't have love for my job. Then where do I get love? Soul is not able to experience on its own naturally anymore, because it's so habituated for wanting love. Little bit praise it gets from someone, little bit smile, someone smiles and talk, and we feel, oh wow, so much love I received. It's not a bad thing to get recognition or get some smiles. But the thing is, we've become very dependent on it. We don't know if that doesn't come, we feel sad, depressed. And suppose I have given a lot of love and attention, somebody didn't give it back to me, anger. And if somebody is giving it to me, fear of losing that person. So all of these emotions come with attachment. So if I am very attached to my family, the only way I can experience love is through my partner, through my kids, through my home, through my job. Each one of us has a different way to experience love. We are made differently. Well, we are not made differently. We are made similarly, but we've had different experiences in life. So some of us maybe have a lot of love for objects, a lot of love for work, and some of us might have a lot of love for people. Depends. So in Raj Yoga, we detach. Every morning, my morning starts with detachment from this physical world and igniting a light within, that I am a soul. A soul, what kind of a soul? I just can't just say soul and be happy with it. I need a lot more than just that. And that is basically, I come from a land of abundance. A soul is a tiny star. And through my thoughts, I can create as much love as I want. I come from a land of silence, land of abundance. I have nothing to lose. I'm a traveler in this physical world. Mother Nature, God has given me many gifts: house, people, relationship, education, job. Everything is a gift. Nothing is mine. It is all extra. Soul came here complete. It got a lot more extra things in the physical world. Live your life like that. Oh, you got a compliment from someone, extra. Thank you. But I'm already so full. Your love is not making me feel loved. I'm already loved. But thank you for that love. It is extra that I can give to others. But I don't need, because I am the child of ocean of love. Be very attached to God. Develop a relationship with God, because He's the only one that accepts but does not expect. Can anybody give few other reasons of why we should be attached to the spiritual world, attached to our eternal truth? Why should we be attached to the spiritual world and detached from here? Can anybody give me few other reasons for it on the chat, please? for internal peace and well-being. We'll be content. Absolutely. Yes. There is so much security, no expectations. Yeah, because our true identity is that of a soul. Physical world is just a drama. Very true. Very hard to explain what is happening in the physical world if you are using only your two physical eyes. That's the one thing which will always remain there. Oh my gosh, such powerful and elevated thoughts. Thank you for sharing. Indeed, this is a consistent place. It can never change. Soul feels very secured. The more you go to this place, you will feel security. You will feel confidence. You will feel loved. For me, my experience has been there were some, past experiences which were not very pleasant. I don't even remember the traces of those experiences. And it's a wonder. So much is the healing power of this place because it has the presence of God. It has the presence of we elevated souls. Here, the soul is completely naked of the physical world. Wherever in the physical world there is a lot of these negative emotions, and so wonderfully one of you said, in this physical world, if I only use my physical eyes, I will understand only limited. My wisdom will be very limited. Oh, they yelled at me, I have never yelled at them. But when you use the third spiritual eye of the soul, we've been on a very long journey, multiple births. Nothing happens in this physical world without a reason. There is a reason, profound reason behind every scene that is coming in front of me. So this world not only generates warmth in my heart, unconditional warmth, it also brings clarity of mind. Because when the soul feels secured, when it feels peace and silence, when it feels the acceptance from God, it has such clarity. It can see why this scene is happening, why this problem is coming, what is the next problem that might come. That much is the power of the soul, which we are not utilizing. You know, the soul has the ability to look at the aura of a soul and understand whether the soul needs help or is the soul full. There are some people who've developed that power through this Raj Yoga meditation, where you can see your aura clearly. Aura is metaphysical. It is vibrations in the form of energy which cannot be seen through physical eyes. But when the soul becomes so pure and powerful, it can see its own aura and it can see the light of other people's aura. That much is our power. Imagine how much, if we develop that kind of power, how much can we donate to our family? So, handling and disobedient child. Now, child can disobey in many, many different ways. It could be a young, a young elementary school going kid, or could be, pre-K, really a very young child could be disobeying, a to-be teenager, a teenager, or an adult. Our kids are kids, right? They will be kids forever. They could disobey in many different aspects. Now, this class, a lot of self-reflection really helps in absorbing the content. So while we are talking and discussing, think which category are you falling in? So if you are heavily left-sided, then these will typically be your thought patterns. I know better than you. What do you know? You've just come to life. You have no idea. I have seen the world. This logical calculation of age starts. My age is more. I've seen more life. I am right, you are wrong. Why? Oh, well, I've seen more life. I've achieved a lot more in life. What have you achieved? You know nothing. Okay, you know few gadgets, but what else do you know? You are supposed to obey me. Very egoistic. Very egoistic is the parent. You're supposed to obey me. I expect you to obey me. After all, I am elder. After all, I'm doing so much for you. You're supposed to obey me. How can you be disrespectful? So a lot of logic is used that the child should behave, child should be respectful, child should always obey. Obey because I am better, because parent always is doing good. They should understand that, they should accept that. A child who is brought up from a very heavily left-sided parent might end up being very stubborn, because they're so being so manipulated, they're being controlled, because such a parent is a control freak. They will manipulate by withdrawing from the child, by taking away some of their privileges. They will manipulate in every way to make sure their way is going forward. So such a child develops a lot of stubbornness, because their choices, their opinions are being killed in one way or the other. And this is extreme that I'm talking about. Maybe we are not in this extreme all the times. Maybe sometimes the child develops a don't care attitude. Enough, I don't care what you're saying. Even if it is the right thing, I don't care anymore, because you're always bossy. You're always trying to control me. You're not letting me live my life the way I want. So they develop this don't care attitude. They also, it depends upon the kid's personality. Some of them, even though they're being stubborn and they're showing don't care, they still have a very low self-esteem. Outside, they might be trying to show arrogance, a superiority complex, but inside, they are very insecure. They are not receiving that love from the parent. All they are receiving from the parent is logic. Logic, why they are right and why the child is wrong. They're not receiving that love that, hey, even though you're wrong, you're my child, it's okay. I will let you use that wrong method. No, they're not receiving that love. They're not receiving that love of taking their chance, letting them have their way. They're only getting logic and control. So such a child who's not received much love has a lot of insecurities, loneliness. Even though there might be people who want to hang around with them, they don't know how to develop that friendship with them. They also start manipulating and controlling their friends, and soon they start losing friends because they become their parents. Kids are a mirror of parents to a lot extent. Obviously, we don't want to feel the burden of kids' personality, but at the same time, we don't want to take that burden, but at the same time, there needs to be the attention. We need to take care for sure, because no matter how carefree or careless we might want to be, we are their role model till they become adult. In fact, even after they become adult, many kids continue to look up to their parents. Their arrogance and their superiority complex kind of behavior might tell you something else, but inside, they constantly want your agreement, your love, your respect. So even if the child is being disobedient, I have to check if this side is becoming powerful. Now, question for you all. Suppose my right side, which is my emotional side, if that gets heavy, what will happen? What will be some thought patterns of the parents? Question for you all. How would a right-sided, how would the right-sided parent, suppose the parent is extremely emotional, unhealthily emotional, what will their thought patterns be when the child is disobedient? Yes, will be eager to support them even if the child will be wrong. Yes, absolutely. My emotions control my decisions about the child. Yes, for sure. And when we are very, very emotional, eh, overly emotional, there needs to be a balance. But if we are illogically emotional, crying for no reason, angry for no reason, hurt for no reason, even if there is a reason, I'm getting very, very hurt, then my decision making will get heavily impacted. So, too much love for the child without any law. Yes, very well said. So, this is, we talked about the mind being very heavy, the logical aspect, and we saw all the problems and the impact on the child. Now, such a child, we saw how it will lead to anger, stubbornness, or the child being very, feeling very low. This is the state of the home where the parent, it might not be that we are always like this. That is an extreme. If we don't take care, we might get to that. We might become extremely left-sided, where we are constantly wanting kids to be under our orders, under our laws. We could become like that if we don't take care. But I think majority of us, sometime or the other, maybe once or twice a month, maybe more than that, we become very heavily left-sided. And when it is heavily right-sided, like some of you already said, where the heart is heavy, I'm just using too much of my emotions, then you will be crying inside. I don't know, this child never listens to me. Why did I get a child like this? My fortune only is bad. So feeling very, very hurt and very depressed. But don't, so it depends upon the parents' personality. Some parents are very aggressive, some parents are passive. So a passive parent typically will go into depression, sadness. I'm seeing every child, I'm talking to my friends, their kids seem to obey. Only my kid is like that. I don't know why it is like this. It shouldn't be like this. Or the other part, there are two different types of parents even in this category. They will start feeling, oh, it's okay, my child doesn't obey always, so what, it's okay, at least he's better than many other kids. One day he will get it. I know he's watching too much TV. I know he doesn't listen when I tell him he should do his homework first. It's okay. My child, after all, he is good. He is going to do well. This is called attachment. Or it could be laziness of the parent who doesn't want to discipline, who doesn't want to deal with the tantrums of the child. It could be because parent has too much office work, or parent loves to hang out with their friends, or parent likes to be on the gadgets themselves, watch TV. It could be any different reason for which we don't want to discipline the kid, apply any law. We don't want to apply any law, either because we are too attached to the kid, thinking, oh, okay, overall is so good. My child has to be good. How can my child not be good? If for somebody else's child, no, they might not be that good. But my child, no, everything that is mine is the best. So that is why my child, whatever he's doing, is the best. That is called heavily right-sided. This is an indication of parents' attachment. They feel love only through the child. If the child is not perfect, they can't feel love. So that's why they keep telling, no, no, my child is perfect. Disobey, that's okay. Overall obeys. So they can't hear anything negative about their child. Such a child ends up becoming a spoiled brat, careless, doesn't value anything. They won't even value their parents' love. Parents think, I love so much my child also loves. No, the child will absolutely not care about the parents after they grow up. All they will want the parents for is to praise them, to give them that extra attention, to boost their morale up. That's all. Otherwise, the child doesn't want to do anything with those parents. The child develops a superiority complex because they get unhealthy amount of love. Even when they are making mistakes, they are getting love, or they are not getting any kind of guidance. Maybe the parent is not giving love. This first two categories, they're not giving love, but they don't know how to discipline the child. They instead sit and cry for their fortune. My bad luck. I got a child who doesn't listen. Everybody else has gotten a child they listen. So a superiority complex actually is an indication of inferiority. And inferiority complex is an indication of these both are not a healthy self-esteem. This basically means if the child, such a child, if they don't get attention and praise from others, they feel insecure because their parents all their life, they worshipped the child. You are good, make a mistake, you are good. So now when they go out there in the world, they're not getting that attention. Manager is not going to say, wow, so good, you made a mistake. They're going to give them feedback. And then they're going to feel inferior. And they're going to be confused. What is this? I only was praised. What is this? They will be with their spouse and they'll find the spouse is also complaining. What is this? See how much impact our parenting can have on the child. It can be a huge impact. So this is the emotion. The parent is literally helpless, or the child is driving the show. Both the parents are bowing down. There is no connection. The biggest problem here is our wings are crippled. Parents' wings are crippled because heavily left-sided means this gets destroyed. There is no love coming from the parent. So with one wing, your heart and mind are disconnected. That means you're either using love, you're either using wisdom. There is no balance. And such a child has a very hard upbringing. So we want a balance. We want a balance. So the balance is a balanced left side, logical. Where there is logic, I am using logic, but there is a balance of both the sides, the wings, both the wings are now becoming healthy. And I'm using both. I don't overuse this so that this gets crippled, this becomes weak. See, the thing that you don't use becomes weak. It's like if you don't use this one hand, suppose you only use your right hand and you never use your left hand for anything, then your left hand becomes, and we already feel it many times, we can use this hand with a lot more power. We can pull things more with this right hand because this is overused, versus this one which is not used becomes weak. So if I overuse logic, then my love dies. And if I overuse love without any logic, then this logic dies. And both the wings are needed. So what does it mean to have a logical side, balanced logical side? When the parent sees a kid being disobedient, they will step back immediately and they will introspect. Let me see what happened. Am I being too bossy? Is the child having a hard day? Maybe the child is just going through something, going through a phase. Maybe the child is having a tough school, or maybe some friend issues. How did I feel when growing up? Didn't I also feel sometimes like this is, my parents are giving me too many directions? Didn't I feel the same emotions? How should I discipline this child? Because this child has disobeyed me already 5 times, is not listening, everything they're arguing. What can I do? Maybe the child should, I have already disciplined too much, I have already too many things. Maybe the child should have their own way too. Why not? Maybe I need to have rules only where there is safety and health involved. Where it's going to be an extreme danger, maybe that's where I have rules. For everything else, let me keep a healthy balance. Maybe I just set a goal that, hey, you should at least get B grades. A grades is the most important, but at least you should get B. But if you are getting anything below it, then I am going to define the rules. But if you are getting all A's and B's, you get to define the rules. Have that kind of logical mind where you're letting the child feel confident that they are making rules. They are deciding how they're going to live their life. Give that freedom and see how the child is doing, because one day they will become adults where they will have freedom and they'll do whatever they want. So let them do whatever they want under your supervision. See, are they using that freedom well? At least here you are there to guide them. If you only control and create a boundaried and limited circle, then once they're out of that boundary, they will do whatever they want. They will hate all the laws. So using the right side, saying, okay, the child is being disobedient and rude. At least I am mature. I'm an adult. I'm responsible for the child. At least let me act like a mature person and remain my calm. Let me keep sowing the good seeds. Let me keep giving advice. One day, all the seeds of good advice and orders I'm giving, they will bear fruits. I have seen in me many things that my parents told me. Most of them actually I obeyed. Some of them which I reluctantly obeyed. Now I am religiously obeying with my heart. So they sowed the seeds. And now I, as an adult, is reaping the benefits of those seeds. So never get tired in sowing seeds because they are not obeying. That is ego talking. But yes, let me not sow seeds too much by using words, but through my actions, I can sow the seeds. Let me enact the role. Let me eat healthy. Let me not be on the phones too much. Let me not watch TV too much. Let me lead a very beautiful and meaningful life. Those are the most powerful seeds you can sow in your child's life. Such a child, when they are raised in such a balanced manner, they will start shedding their ego. This love triggers love in them. Bossiness triggers bossiness in them. They will disagree. Maybe sometimes they will still disagree with what I'm saying as they become a teenager. We should respect their opinion. They might, but they will do it respectfully. They won't be rude or mean anymore because they are seeing the parents' love, the parents' freedom. And they will start reflecting, my parents said something, they didn't even oppose, they did tell me all the good points, they were so calm when they said it. Let me think, if I do this, will it really be good, or will I incur loss? It will trigger those seeds of realization that their choice might not be the right, even though their friends are doing it. That much is the power of maintaining love and balance. Love and wisdom. Maintaining that balance is the one that will connect these two, and I will use both of them in a powerful manner. So with that, pretty much we come to the end of our session. Any thoughts or questions? And there is a sister Shivani's webinar coming up on October 30th. Pallavi Ben has posted the details on the chat. Highly recommend it. Such a fantastic speaker, explains deeper meanings of life with simple language. So it's at 5:30 p.m. on October 30th. And now, if you have any questions or want to share something, feel free to unmute yourself and share your questions or your experiences.
Hello, Sister Meghna. I have a question to ask actually.
Sure, please.
So, at home, maybe now that seeing your slides, I think when my son was growing up, everything was fine. Then he got diagnosed ADHD, and something happened to my mind. I think I became a heavily right-sided, very emotional parent because I felt that maybe through love and this maybe he'll I don't know. I just felt very like I got suddenly protected about this kid.
Mm,
So, and then as he grew up, I realized that, oh my God, this overly love thing is like spoiled behavior. So,
yeah.
and because you suddenly go in a trap of like protecting this kid, like, you know what I mean, right? Like
Yep.
he has something, and, you feel like, as a mom, I think automatically that happens. Then along the lines, I tried to make a balance. I took some parenting classes, and then I started using Calm and Connect. And somehow it's actually a ton easier now to parent. And no matter what happens, I'm dealing with some spoiled bratty behavior, but I'm hoping that through time, with the Calm and Connect, and respecting him and listening to him more, things will shift. Um, but that's me, right? And then we have a spouse as well that we have to co-parent. So I can't control or change the way he parents, which could be more left-sided, or sometimes it could be in the middle. But aggression is there in speech and language. Bad words were taught. So I'm somehow sometimes I was feeling very stuck. How to bring him to balance, like similar to me. And then I was just having quite an emotional moment with myself yesterday. And I felt that maybe I have to just, like, I learned in Brahma Kumari that my soul is like my journey and his soul is his journey. So I can't control what he does.
Absolutely. You can certainly inspire the soul to come back to its natural form. The more you come back to your natural form, where you're not judgmental, a soul is not judgmental. That is how God is. And we are
Yes.
made in his image. We
Mm,
are not, we have the ability to accept because your husband has taken a journey that has caused him to
mm,
be the way he is. And it is accurate. That reality is also accurate. There is no flaw in it.
exactly.
But you see his bigger reality, which is that he is a soul too, child of
Mm,
God, has that love component fully, has the logic component also fully. And many times, this battle between man and women
mm,
generally tend to be right sided and men generally tend
mm,
to be left sided. It's not
right.
always though. And there is a battle. Actually, we are made in
Mm,
that way so that these two wings support the child. We shouldn't
mm,
be questioning why you are left sided, or the other person should not be
mm.
questioning why you are right sided. It's a healthy balance. And
Okay.
we end up learning from each other. Then the
Mm,
right sided woman learns the logical side from the man, and the man
right.
who's heavily logic sided learns. When you respect each other's personality, you learn. Actually, it's important that the child goes through that logical aspect,
Mhm,
sometimes heavily logical because he's
mhm,
gotten too much of love. So
right.
nothing destroys, not whatever happened in the past is perfect.
Mhm,
Whatever, whether you gave extra love, that was perfect. The child needed
mm,
it, it became a spoiled brat, that's okay. But it helped in many other dimensions for that child to remain secured. It's okay.
yes,
So
absolutely.
yeah, so whatever happened, but never doubt anybody's personality.
Mm,
Maintain that faith, and that's why the detachment
mhm,
is so key to maintain this balance. And Raj Yoga meditation itself is a detachment. That
yes.
practice itself is a detachment. Disconnect from being a mother,
Mhm,
disconnect and become a soul. See your child as a
mm,
soul,
yes.
not your
That was
property.
a very big shift actually in my life, because now I like to sit with myself, and I am very like independent of what happens. Even if my son falls, I'm
Wonderful.
like, I don't even my husband passes comment, it doesn't affect me. I just have to
Wonderful.
say I'm a peaceful soul, and everybody's allowed to be how they want to be, and I'm also allowed to be how I want to be in my space. So I
Thank you,
think
Sheetal.
accepting. You're welcome. But sometimes, right, Sister Meghna, when it's too aggressive, I don't even know this right or wrong. As a mother, your heart breaks, right? And the kid cries, and then sometimes you see that okay, the kid is very being aggressive, and then the husband parents a certain way, and why unnecessary you trigger it. As a mother, sometimes you think it wasn't necessary. Why didn't you reflect or talk? Or then when these thoughts come, I'm like, okay, wait, stop. That's his journey. I can't control him. If he wants to change, he can. If he realizes is wrong, but the next day he gets up and he becomes a middle parent. He never goes on the right side like me. he, he goes
Yeah,
in the middle.
in your meditation, you can lot of souls in this world have lost
Mhm.
their right side. We can
Right.
invoke all the souls and send that to them, especially the ones
Mm.
who are near to you. They will
Right.
receive it.
Okay.
So
I'll try that.
yeah, send that love and activate it. It's not, you would not activate, actually. The soul
Mhm.
itself is embodiment of love. It will trigger love in them. Your faith
Mhm.
that they are a loveful soul
Right.
will trigger that old
But
emotion.
it's so amazing, right, Sister Meghna? Like when I look at my husband in a positive way, that oh, he's the best, being the best, dad to our son, and somehow I feel he senses that.
Mm,
Before I should be like, why don't you try this method? Why don't you try that method? And I feel like by me doing that, his ego went up. That hey, I can also do it.
yeah,
So I feel like after I've stopped and I respect his soul as his own journey, it seems to be like he's shifting, and I'm not seeing any negative. And I'm
wonderful.
like, it's okay, it's your journey, it's all right.
Thank you so much for sharing. That's
You're
so
very welcome.
beautiful. That's so
Yes.
beautiful. Any other questions?
Yeah, Sister Meghna, I have a question. So, obviously, we benefit a lot from Brahma Kumari's teachings in parenting. So, it's a reciprocity that you also want your child to benefit, right? You want the child to, attend the Brahma Kumari sessions, for children or for anything else. I enjoy going, but I cannot instill that passion in my son. He still doesn't like it. We're aware that it can benefit the child tremendously, but how do you you know how do you like foster interest in our children, so that our children, so that they attend Brahma Kumaris, they actively participate, they learn, and they implement from a young age itself.
Yeah. Yeah, again, this is, my own personal, based on my own kids and personality, right? For me, by the time I came into this knowledge, it was already kind of quite late for both the kids. They were quite elder, or I wouldn't say very, very elder, but yet they had their own opinions, strong opinions. So at that point, if I had forced, then it would have come across as you getting very attached to something, and then you want us also to be attached. So I felt it was more necessary to kind of give them that space. But what I have been doing is everything that I'm learning, I'm practicing. And I see this knowledge, I'm day to day, wherever it is needed, not like lectures or anything, but every day. My child is in a high school which is very, very competitive. Every other day, I have to say something or the other from this knowledge, which helps her, which rejuvenates her. Every day, I'm giving her vibrations of pure supreme energy. So I know in many ways I'm benefiting. But if the child is young, like 7 to 10, I would, if I was the parent, I would certainly kind of say, no choice, you have to go to this class. We will see after 10. If you still don't have interest, we will see. But till then, it's a mandatory, just once a week class. Obviously, we will not force them into too many things, but you can take out 1 hour. It's okay. So there were certain classes which I kind of said, because one of my kid didn't want to take any classes, one by one, every class they wanted to withdraw. So finally I had to tell, no, you know what, when you grow up, you are going to feel bad that you didn't get any extracurriculars other than academics. You are going to feel bad, and you're going to hold the parents, that the parents didn't push. So I'm going to put my foot down. You select which, but at least one or two you have to go. So at certain times, we have to maintain love where we say, you choose, but also the wisdom, we know what is good for them, right? So if your kids are young, say, okay, this you are doing for me, and we can do something else together that you like. It's not really a manipulation, but it is, you are doing something. I'm also going and attending these classes, which is my choice, but we can attend another class or do some activity which is fun for you. If it is video games, I'm happy to play video games with you. Use creative ways, but if you can get your kids to attend spiritual classes from young age, I agree with you. This cannot be received from the world. It has to be given to them when they are young, or they develop this interest later in the future age. But if they get it in this young age, man, they're set for life.
Yes, Sister Meghna, it's like I regret that I came into this knowledge so late in life. Imagine how it would have been, and it is true. The whole life would have been a sea change, but then, it's
Yeah.
the drama. But yeah.
I hope you all come to the center as well. If you do, please come and meet and say hello. Because one is to, take classes virtually, but coming to the center, the powerful vibrations, and then Sister Kusum, meet her. She's a fantastic mother, a really great guide. So it develops that atmosphere. Then we are able to do a lot of service. Our progress becomes exponential once you start visiting the center, attending classes there, mingling with the people who are thinking alike. Invite you all to the center on behalf of Didi, Kusum Didi. With that, I think thank you all for participating so well. And let's do a short meditation. And I'll see you again next week. I am a loveful, blissful, and a warm being. I was on a long amnesia, spiritual amnesia, where I didn't like myself sometimes, or I liked myself and only myself. I see the imbalance and I connect to my parent, the eternal truth of all souls. And I draw his balanced vision, his balanced attitude in me. So I'm not an emotional fool, nor am I a control freak. I am a wise and a loving being. And when I have nurtured myself through detachment, then I am ready to nurture the soul in my house. Thank you all for joining me. We ran over a bit today, but good discussion, good points, and really glad to hear your experiences. I think those make it a lot more powerful. Practical examples make it, showcase that how powerful is this knowledge. So fantastic to hear from all of you. Please continue to do that. And I'll see you all next week. Hope you have a beautiful week ahead. Om Shanti.